everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I would like to talk about my least favorite reads of 2019. I forget how many books I ended up with reading in 2019. I think it was only about 60. I'm saying only like that's not like a great freaking number because if you read one book, you've done fantastic, guys. Just freaking fantastic. But I think I finished with 60 books or something like that. So these books, my least favorite, none of them were like complete trash, and some of them I don't really remember. It's least favorite in the fact that when I was looking at my reading list, I was just like, oh yeah, I read that book. I remember not liking it. But I did finish the book, so it counts. Well, DNFs kind of count. And you know what? I don't have that many DNFs, so I'm just going to add that into this list as well. But my least favorite books. If I have them up in a wrap-up, I will try to include those wrap-ups down below. Okay? Okay. My least favorite books, Amber and Dusk by Lyra Celine. I definitely have this one in a wrap-up. I don't remember how many stars I gave it. I just remember being like, oh my god, this is so repetitive. Like, get to the good part. And it took forever to get to the good part. And then the ending wasn't even really a twist. Like, you kind of understood what was happening or what was about to happen, and then you were just like, cool. That was fun. It wasn't fun. Next was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Don't come for me, y'all. Do not come for me. This book was average. It was average. It was hyped because it featured a homosexual relationship. That is what it was hyped for. I'm not even sure if it was hyped because it featured some diversity as well with Mexican Americans. I believe they're Mexican Americans. With Mexican Americans and mixed race children. But the story was average. We've seen this story 101 times when it comes to, like, My Date with the President's Daughter was like a Disney movie. Like, another Disney movie that happened to do with presidential kids and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a story we've seen before. All you did was change out the girl for a guy. That's it. And, like, we've seen these, like inner romantic, like, it's a story we've just seen before. There was nothing new about it, guys. Nothing new. Like, we're hyping it for the wrong, we're hyping it because of diversity, and we shouldn't hype diversity. We shouldn't hype the fact that a book includes diversity. We should just be like, yay! Like, that's how real life is. Real life is diverse. Like, sorry. So yeah, it was okay. It was cute. There's like a good 100 pages in that book, though, that you're like, we can stop. Don't I have the physical book of this one, actually? I don't know. I just redid my shelf, so I don't know where anything is. I thought I had the physical book. I'm pretty positive that I do. I don't know. I can't find it. If I do, whatever. But it was average, guys. It was just average. Like, it's a good story. It's a cute story. But I mean, like, it wasn't anything spectacular. So, yeah. Next up! Cause all my shit's closing out. It was Save the Date, Monica Murphy. I read that it's a romance book. Save the Date by Monica Murphy. It's a romance book. It features fake dating. It's just what it was average. Like, I felt like some parts of the book moved too fast from what I remembered, and some parts moved too slow. Like, the whole conflict portion, I felt like got washed over too fast for the fake dating for the fake dating portion that happened after the fact of the fake dates, and I felt like that was unfortunate. I mean, there were some good parts to it, not enough steamy parts to it, and like I didn't get enough tension leading up to the steamy parts. And like when I have like the like fake dating or like haters to lovers, like I really need that tension to just build and build and build, so that way it's just so much better. So that way when it finally happens, you're like, oh my god, finally, you know? Yeah, you know. Next up is Mastering Her Curves by Piper Sullivan. I think I got this book. I don't remember how I got this book. How I got to this book. So I think it's like the middle of a romance series. You know how like romance likes to do, it follows each one of the characters in a certain order and fashion. And so it's somewhere in the middle of that. It was a pretty short book. It really just had no development in it. Like, they sleep together once and then they don't talk, and then they act like they can't talk to each other like as civilized human beings, and then there's like a whole lack of communication thing, and it just it didn't have enough growth through it and enough like build up for me to really care about it. And yeah. And the final least favorite book was Master Baker, which I got from Kindle Unlimited. I'm sorry, the title just makes me laugh every time. By Pippa Grant. Once again, it is a Kindle Unlimited book. It is, once again, there just wasn't enough growth through it. I would call it more contemporary romance more than anything. What is on me? I definitely call it like a contemporary romance. It's about these two fighting people, one of whom is an actual baker, one of whom has returned home from the army to take care of their parent, who owns a bakery and is now having to take charge, and they are basically saying there can only be one bakery in between these two separate towns, and they really do like each other, but then they had a falling out after high school, and after that it's just all hodgepodge and mess, in my opinion. I mean, it was good in the terms of easy to read and cute, but it was just no substance to it. Like none. Zero. It was cute. And the title Master Baker is adorable and it makes me giggle. You know, I'll just add all the negative shit in all in one video. So, DNFs. Books I consciously DNF'd in 2019. There are plenty of books I did not finish in 2019 that I started, but a lot of them were not because I wanted to put them, because I did not want to read them anymore. Some of them were just I put them down and start something else and then pick back up, which is like a completely different feeling, you know? Yeah. So consciously DNF'd books in 2019. Mirage by Soumya Dayoud. I think I am saying that right. But I started reading this book because it's not that big of a book. I started this book because it's not that big. It's like, you know, like this thick. It's not that big. So I thought it'd be an easy read for me to read another fantasy in 2019. And no, I just could not get into it. It was a huge information dump at the beginning of a lot of words, a lot of names, a lot of places and stuff. And I had no context to attach it to, so for me that's really hard for me to remember things, and I'm sitting there trying to put it somewhere, but there's nothing for me to attach it to in my brain, because obviously it's a fantasy, it's a land I do not know, so I have nothing, and so I'm still trying to read it. I'm trying to understand it. It's basically a common person that they kidnap because she looks exactly like the princess. And they put her in her place of the princess because the princess is under threat because she's a terrible, awful person. And so, but they can, you know, if somebody kills the common person, who cares? Whatever, obviously. And, so, starts with that. I know some people enjoyed it. I couldn't get through it. I genuinely could not get through. I think I read, like, the first 80 to 100 pages. Like, I read a good chunk to try and get into it, and I couldn't do it anymore, so I don't know how it finished. I don't really rate those. They're just DNFs. A Danger to Herself and Others by Alyssa Scheinmel. I was only reading this for BookNet Fest, for the BookNet Fest book club. It's really not a book category that I read. I don't really know what to put it in because it's not really contemporary, but it's kind of contemporary. It's not really a psychological thriller, but it is psychological, but it's not a thriller because it features this girl who something happens. We don't know what in the world happens, but then she ends up in a mental institution. And it follows her through that. I don't know. I was really only reading it for Book Net Fest. And then I didn't finish it, so before Book Net Fest, I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna finish it now. I don't really care about it. Sorry, it's true. Most disappointing reads of 2019. I feel like when I say this book, y'all are really gonna come at me. Like, really gonna come at me. You know what? I just realized I didn't even put on eyeshadow today. That's fine. I like it. Y'all really gonna come at me, you know? And that's okay. I can take it, maybe. But one of my most disappointing reads, you know what? Let me do the other one first. The first one was 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. I really liked Sally Thorne's other book. Why can I remember it currently? Isn't it The Hating Game? Isn't that her other book? Why is this so difficult? Why can't Kindle get this shit together? Sally Thorne. Yeah, it's The Hating Game. I really enjoyed The Hating Game. I did. But 99% Mine left a lot to be desired. And I can't even really put into words why it left so much to be desired, but that it did. Like you just wanted so much more from these characters, or from the angsty tension of these characters than you got. And it took a long time for some introspection to happen for some of the characters. And you just wanted more. It's hard to put into words, but it was just disappointing after how much I really enjoyed The Hating Game. Like, I enjoyed The Hating Game. You know, it was good. And then finally, my last most disappointing read of 2019, unfortunately, was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Oh! Woo! That was hard to say. I love Thug. So many people love Thug. On the Come Up was disappointing. I have a review and I have it somewhere. I will plug it. But On the Come Up was disappointing because it brought up so many fantastic themes and ideas and concepts in the Black community. But because we brought up so many, we didn't get to explore some of them fully. And that is what I don't like. You know, that whole concept of do one thing great instead of a lot of things average. We did a lot of things average instead of doing one thing great. And that is why it disappointed me. I had high hopes for it. I'm not saying it was a bad book. It was a good book. I had high hopes for it. But it disappointed me because of that. Like, this was a great opportunity to dive into some of these things that she brought up in this book. And it didn't happen. We just kept bringing up new ones and new ones and new ones and new ones instead of taking how our actions affect our youth, taking how culture is cyclical in this community, taking how we cannot seem to always forgive and redeem, or how hard it is to forgive and redeem people in our community who have made better for themselves when they've had trouble with drug addiction and substance abuse. Taking how hotepery is a true ass thing, and how sometimes people try to be too woke without actually being woke. What are some other things? There's a lot of themes that happen in this book, and I just don't have them in front of me. But I did a whole review on it, so I think it's just a 2-minute book review, so go check it out. But that is why it disappointed me. It wasn't a bad book. That's why it's not under my least favorite. It's a good book. But I guess me as a black reader who knows a lot of white readers are going to read Angie Thomas after Thug, wanted so much more to be dived into in this book. So I was disappointed. That's it. But that is it for me. Those are some of my lows of 2019. My lows of 2019. Yeah, I feel like that was like literally like half my books of 2019. It just wasn't the best reading year of 2019. I don't know what happened to YA in 2019 and why whenever I tried to read a YA book, I'd get through it and I enjoy it, but it just, none of them were like yes, like I now stand this new series. No, none of that happened. None of that happened. They were all very much average, and it just, they missed some marks. They missed some marks. Maybe it's because our standards are growing for YA, and we want you to just come back with us with the substance. I understand I need high school substance, but the substance, you know, even Disney be putting in some things that are for adult minds only. Like, but the kids are like, ha ha ha, and the adults are like, ha ha ha, yes, it's my life. But I don't know what happened with YA. I don't know if I want to talk about that or not. If I do talk about it, I'll do it in a Candles and Combos video, which y'all should really check out my Candles and Combos videos. And not a sit down video. But anyway, guys, that is it for me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell notification button so you never miss anything. Don't forget to follow me on all of the social medias, which are linked down below. And don't forget to check out my Patreon. A lot of new content is coming up in 2020. For it got wayside in 2019, I'm not gonna lie, at the end, because I started towards the end. But a lot of new content is coming up for it in 2020. So that is it for me, guys. And so until next time, keep turning the pages.